We have a fun new way to use up your old fabric scraps with our newly released Scrappy Cat Oven Mitt. So we're starting this project off by using a tearaway stabilizer, and the first step we're going to do is run our placement stitching for the whole pattern. Okay, the next step is to lay down a panel of batting. I'm doing a 6 by 8 inch pattern with this, so I've trimmed my batting to be about an inch larger all the way around. One of the things I wanted to mention is that just for demonstration purposes, I'm using just a plain batting, a quilter's batting. But if you're going to use this for actual hot work, i.e. using it with an oven or a microwave, and you don't want to burn yourself, then I would recommend using a material such as Insulbrite that is actually heat resistant. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stitch out the tack down stitch for this, and then I'm going to trim away the excess batting. I've laid down my fabric, and I'm going to run my tack down stitch for my fabric, and then I'm going to trim the fabric away after that. So our next step is going to be to run a blanket stitch across the top of the cat's head. And then after that, we're going to go through the process of picking out different colored fabrics for our squares that are going to be in the cat's tummy. And this is actually a really fun way to use up some of those leftover scraps because they're just little squares that we're going to be placing. Next we'll be working on all of the patches in the tummy, and one thing to note, we're going to start with a placement stitch, then we're going to do a tack down stitch, and then we're going to do a second tack down stitch for most of these squares, and you'll see the process as I go. You'll see that my first square has been placed. I have trimmed the fabric, and I'm going to run my tack down for my second square. I just want to make note that I've laid my fabric upside down, and I'm going to run a tack down stitch right here, and then once that's complete, I'm going to fold over my fabric and I'm going to finish running that tack down stitch. And I'm going to repeat that process for this side over here, and then this panel will be a little bit different. I've trimmed my fabric, so next we're working on the second side. Next we're working on to the bottom portion of the cat. So I just wanted to talk about this last panel just a little bit. This is a little bit of an odd panel in the fact that I'm going to have to measure this precisely from the width of it, and not so much the length I'm concerned with, but it's more the width. I'm going to make it about a ½ inch larger than the width of these stitch outs right here, and then I'm going to fold under and press it flat. Because what we're going to do is we're going to do what we've been doing, which is lay the fabric upside down and tack it down here. Then we're going to fold it over, and we're going to have to stitch here and here. So unlike the other panels where the stitching was hidden underneath a layer of fabric, this panel really isn't hidden because there was no way for me to physically do that within the pattern. So we're just going to have to underfold our edges of fabric and then stitch right on top of that and try to make it as neat as we can, which I'm pretty sure we can do. So with my last tack down complete, it wasn't quite perfect, but I think overall really pretty good considering I had to fold and measure. We have some decorative top stitches that we're going to be adding to each of these little blocks, and I'm going to match my threads to the different color blocks that I've got going on here. So we're going to do that next. So I didn't intend on using purple, but I like it, so we're going to go ahead and move on to the next block. So our front is finished, and I think it's really pretty cute. The next step is we're going to flip this over. I'm going to add a little bit of a ribbon to it for a loop, and then we're going to attach the back. Just a quick note before I start to stitch this. I have placed a little piece of, I put my ribbon over here and I've taped it down, and then I went ahead and I've put my back panel of fabric on. This is going to act as a lining so that you don't feel the stitches when your hand goes through the mitt, and we're going to tack this down. Just one quick note, I have trimmed away the excess fabric. Now we're going to flip it over, and there is a little bit of satin stitching that goes around the base here before we add our full-on backing. Our stitching is complete to the base here, and it's looking really pretty. I'm going to attach the back piece next, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So I want to just show you what I've done. I have sandwiched a layer of batting, or in your case it's going to be Insulbrite. One layer of fabric, nice side face down, batting, nice side face up, and it's folded here at the base. I'm going to align the base of my back pattern here to the satin stitching, and then I'm going to tape it all in place. I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to run my final tack down stitch for this, and then after that I'll trim it, and then I'll run my final satin stitch. So we have trimmed away the excess batting and material, and now I'm going to run my final satin stitch and decorative top stitch, and then remove the stabilizer, and this project will be done. So that wraps up today's video. Hope you all enjoyed, and please come back to see what's new later on.